Hello everyone, I'm NTom64.
And I'm Sparanda.
And welcome to the HellfireComms playthrough of Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. Today's a big day, y'all, at least when this goes live on YouTube. 20 years ago to today, March 28th, 2002, was the initial release of the very first Kingdom Hearts game. It all started when, there was a Square employee and a Disney employee in the same elevator together. And the Square guy was like, I got a thing. And the Disney guy was like, huh? And, I'm paraphrasing here, but that's essentially what kicked this off. The Square employee essentially shooting his shot, which led to one of the longest running action RPG franchises to date. And you may remember, I initially did this game with a Hell Dragon back in the day, but since he's moved on to greener pastures, I figured I'd rope in another KH fan with Spar over here, who has actually recorded the game for us. And we're not playing the original version of Final Mix, nor the version on the PS3 collections. This is on the 1.5 HD thing for PS4.
This is on the PS4, yeah, and you didn't exactly rope me into this, I offered this to you.
It makes it more exciting if I describe it that way.
I always wanted to record Kingdom Hearts for the non-com channel, and so I decided I was just going to go ahead and do it. And then I was like, hey, the 20th anniversary is coming up. Let's do that.
What an interesting copyright-free remix we have here.
Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't allow basically any version of Simple and Clean, or really any of the opening and ending songs. So I found a kind of synthesizer remix thing of Hikari, I think this actually is, to put in here. I think it fits well enough. It's obviously not, exactly the same song, but I think some parts of it, match up well with what the song was in the original.
Man, so much has happened since the original game. I mean, Sora is in Smash now. He was the very last character to be revealed for the Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC. But I think that kind of says it all for how far the franchise has come. And, full disclosure, we will be discussing the entirety of the series, since this is an anniversary event. So if you haven't played, say, Birth by Sleep or Kingdom Hearts 3, please be aware we might be discussing spoilers for those games.
One thing I wanted to mention was actually that opening sequence where Sora's like, I've been having weird thoughts, is any of this for real or not? Doesn't Yozora repeat that at the end of, his boss fight in Remind?
Essentially, yeah, the proper ending for Remind, Yozora, who I guess you could say is Noctis from Final Fantasy Versus 13, not 15, Versus 13 specifically, who is being chauffeured by what appears to be Luxon.
It sounds like him anyway, has the same voice. So, who knows what's going on there?
God knows, but, next month at the time this goes up, April 10th, it's gonna be a new Kingdom Hearts event, so we may get some new games and whatnot.
I would love to have information on a new game, even if it's not coming this year. As great as it would be to have it for the anniversary, I'd love them to just take the time they need to make an absolutely excellent game.
Yeah, same with Sonic Frontiers, same with Breath of the Wild 2, just a lot of sequels, really.
There's a lot of good stuff coming. It's a good time to be a gamer.
It is indeed, and a fine time to be a Kingdom Hearts fan, because say what you will about 3, for some reason it's divisive. I know people had high expectations for that game, given the very long time they had to wait, which apparently equates to dev time, which it really doesn't. That's not how game development works.
They just announced it too early.
Yeah, they did. They really did. That E3 was something special, though, when they did.
It was.
Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, Remind and then Melody of Memory was kind of the 1-2 punch that I think the franchise needed, because both of those were great. And from there, let's springboard into something special. So, Kingdom Hearts. Your typical action RPG. You move about with the stick, use the face buttons to attack, guard, etc. And there's a very special way of setting up your character here. Do you want to explain how this works, Spar?
Okay, so for each of these weapons that are appearing here, the one you pick determines the type of abilities that you get early on, and whichever one you drop means you'll earn those abilities later on in the game. And also, whichever one you pick gives you a instant improvement right away. As you can see, I'm picking the magic staff, which means I actually start with one higher MP than the other options, and you're going to see me using a lot of magic in this playthrough.
Very good.
And I'll be dropping the shield because if I drop the sword, that means my strength is going to be really low, and I don't want it to be that bad.
Apologies to Goofy. We like offense here on HFC. Very rarely will we press that guard button.
That doesn't mean we find Goofy offensive.
I don't know where you got that from. I love Goofy. I would say Goofy has the best classic cartoons of the three main Disney stars.
I'll be honest, I have seen very, very little of the original Disney cartoons. They used to play some shorts as like commercials on the Disney Channel of like Goofy playing football or something like that. American football, of course. Things like that. Those are the most that I've ever seen. Of course, they have all the shorts on like Disney Plus, but I don't know. I've never really felt like sitting down to watch them.
Alright, so we've got another Disney princess here. These are the Stations of Awakening, so I would assume these are the Sleeping Hearts of the Princesses of Heart.
I think all of these are the princesses that have already been captured by the League of Villains in this game.
Yeah.
Snow White, Cinderella, Belle, and Sleeping Beauty have already been kidnapped in some way, at least, by Maleficent and her crew. And so that's why they're the ones that are here, rather than the other princesses we meet in this game.
Right. So that would leave Alice, Jasmine, and Kyrie, right?
Correct, yes.
Although, depending on what route you take, can't you get Snow White or Alice?
If you complete Deep Jungle before Wonderland, the cutscene shows Snow White in Hollow Bastion, because this game has a lot of things like that where you could do things sort of out of order.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool, and I'll be mentioning a few of them like that. So yeah, you can see Snow White in that cutscene instead of Alice, but I mean, Alice hasn't been kidnapped at this point, and Snow White already has, one way or the other.
Yeah, for sure. Kingdom Hearts 1 is a very interesting game like that. It kind of stands apart from the other entries in the series, both in terms of tone and just kind of like, I would say, just game design. Really, like Spar mentioned, some random shit can happen depending on what order you do things, as opposed to, say, Kingdom Hearts 2, where you'll very rarely, if ever, do things out of intended order. You can do things out of order, but there's still some sort of method to the madness there.
Yeah, you could definitely do things out of order in KH2, it just doesn't really ever affect much.
No.
It's kind of like, when you reach a certain point going through the worlds, Twilight Town will reopen. The game doesn't care if you go back to Twilight Town right away, or if you go to Pride Land. It's not going to affect the story any, nothing's going to change, no cutscenes are going to be different or anything. Whereas in this game, doing things out of order can actually net you some pretty weird results.
Indeedy so. It's nice to be able to do things with triangle in this re-release.
It's very cursed to see the Xbox versions with the Y button, though.
God, it doesn't feel right. I just got a Series X the other day. I don't think I'll be getting Kingdom Hearts on there, somehow. In my mind, it's a Sony franchise. Even though there's entries on Nintendo and whatnot, there's those brain worms in my head saying, you must play it on Sony consoles, Tom. It doesn't feel right.
I mean, the collections are all, like, first came out on PlayStation anyway, so that kind of cements them as being a PlayStation franchise, no matter what the previous games were on.
Well, you say that, but Nintendo Switch recently got some collections on fucking cloud!
Well, yeah, but the collections originally came out on PlayStation.
God.
And it was a long time before they even got moved over to Xbox. I think Xbox got KH3 before it got the collections, which is just ridiculous to me.
It's bizarre, yeah, but one last thing about those cloud things. It made me laugh/cringe so much at the last before this particular date. Who knows, maybe they'll drop one randomly and make me appear even more of a fool than usual. But that direct was so great, and then they were like, here's some more collections, and the very first one they showed was the Cloud Collection. I could not cringe harder.
originally announced during the Sora Smash showcase, right?
Yes, it was.
I think so. I remember watching your reaction and waiting for the drop of them being cloud versions.
Yeah, I believe my reaction was, fuck yes! And then, oh. So Kingdom Hearts has FF Final Fantasy cameos. We got Waka from FF10 here. That was Selphie from FF8 back there. And we got Tina/Titus, also from FF10 here. It's like Dissidia, but, you know, not disappointingly arcade-based.
They originally wanted to have Kingdom Hearts characters in some of the Dissidia games, but Disney really wasn't up for having their characters beating each other up, so...
Well...
I mean, I guess they haven't looked at this game where that happens. So to explain what just happened with those three characters, the choices you make there actually determine how fast you level up throughout this game.
Okay.
If you choose the top option for all three of them, the text will read that your journey begins at dawn, and what that means is the early levels of the game will go faster, but the later levels will go slower, and if you choose the third options, it'll be vice versa. It's actually about 100,000 points of experience difference between the fastest and the slowest level ups.
Jesus. See, I'm into Kingdom Hearts, but Spar is definitely more on the technical side of things, because have you speedrun these games before, or is that you just a fan of them, per se?
Mostly a fan. I did an attempt at a Kingdom Hearts 2 speedrun way back when, like, Mexi was around, still doing everything. He actually, like, was still speedrunning Pokemon and stuff, and so he kind of got me interested in speedrunning, and so I tried Kingdom Hearts 2 based on some notes that were available online from, the popular runners. And I got about 2 hours in, and I think I made it through the first visit to Olympus, and I stopped playing because I was like, this isn't really fun. I'd rather just play the game my way.
Yeah, this feels like work now. Funny how that happens. It's very interesting to see games like this being... speedrun seems weird, but I'm pretty sure that's the correct past tense. Couple of shout-outs. Number one, Violin SR. Lad does a bunch of speedruns. Fantastic rhythm game player as well. His melody and memory stuff is great. And we have an old friend of the channel, Cyberman65, who's still doing stuff to this very day.
There's also, of course, Axel Ryman, who still hangs out with HFC. He used to be huge in the Kingdom Hearts community, and I just realized yesterday when, like, he got recognized in, I think it was Violin's chat, that he used to be so big, and now it's like, he's just kind of a guy that hangs around in our groups, so...
That seems mean, but it's also a very accurate way of how Axel will just pop up, say hi, and then not appear for 2 weeks.
Another shout-out I'd like to give, and the person that I watched to find out a lot about this game, is Miss Master 1, who holds the world records, or at least did at the time that I recorded all of this footage, the world records for all of the Level 1 and Proud speedrun categories. So, like, yeah, he knows this game.
Okay, I'm going to do my best to not bring up jokes that happened in the Oni Plays run. Do superior Kingdom Hearts 1 Let's Play.
It's okay, I wouldn't get them anyway.
Ah, good stuff, good stuff. Now, Dark Side here. You can see you can target his hands and whatnot. If you attack his head, I think by running up his arm, like right here, you could do, like, major damage to him. Is that right?
You get a little bit of extra damage, and you also earn tech points, which are basically just XP, but special.
Right.
I guess is a good way to describe it. A lot of people don't know you can actually just lose this fight and the game will move on. You don't actually have to win, you just get a little bit of XP for it otherwise.
Oh, he flexing.
He's flexing and dodging.
Get those crunches in.
How did I parry that?
I thought carefully. You're using a fucking Mickey Mouse staff, for God's sake. Yeah! I'm so glad they brought that into one-on-one fights in Smash.
It's so cool. I don't think it's quite, like, a direct copy of what happens here. It's kind of their own thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they like doing the special things, because, I mean, when you use Joker's all-out attack, he gets the victory screen from Persona 5. Because, like, of course, I had to bring in Persona 5 to the playthrough, right?
Of course. A key. The mightiest weapon of all is apparently a key. Not a gun, not a regular sword, not even a chainsaw, which the prototype version of Sora was apparently going to use. Nope, it's a key. More like a club, really, in the shape of a key.
That slashes instead of gets used as a blunt weapon.
Well, have you seen how, like, fast they throw these fuckers around?
His original design was, like, sort of an anthropomorphic lion kind of thing, which I guess sort of influenced the way he looks in Pride Land in KH2. I've seen some of the original, like, concept art, and it's a bit strange. I'm glad they went with this instead.
Iconic line right here.
Sorry, you lazy bum. I knew that I'd find you
Snoozing down here. Oh, Hayden. They never called you back, did they?
They brought her back for 2, I'm pretty sure. It wasn't until after that it switched over to Allison Stoner, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
I don't know why. Maybe Hayden wasn't available. Maybe they just wanted to go in a different direction with Kairi. Who knows, really. But Sora here is voiced by the fantastic Haley Joel Osment, whose name I very nearly forgot for a split second there, but I'm good now.
I don't remember.
You would think that we would know these names by heart with as much as we've talked about this series, but I also wrote down all of the voice actor names to make sure that didn't happen to me.
Really?
I think Haley even said when he started working on Kingdom Hearts that doing voice work was very different for him.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
he's only done live action, like acting, before this.
So what are we waiting for?
So it was kind of strange, and he kept up with his voice through the years, even up to like the current games, so... You know, I guess he's done a good job.
He has a tiny face but a big heart, does Haley. And we have David Gallagher here as Riku. You know, Riku is he's very sexy.
Okay, we'll finish it together.
That's his quote, not mine.
What? Are you kidding?
Ready? Go!
Don't really have any notable roles for David, but obviously Haley was in The Sixth Sense, Hayden was in Heroes and whatnot, is the cheerleader. You know, save the cheerleader, save the world.
Yeah, if you didn't say it, I was going to. Was David Gallagher in Beverly Hills 90210, or is that someone else that I'm thinking of?
I don't know, you're asking me, a Brit, for an American show?
Or maybe it was Hawaii Five-0, something like that. One of those detective shows. Something like that.
Here's a late clap for the title sequence, by the way. Yeah, Destiny Islands!
Let's go!
You know, if you rearrange Destiny Islands, it actually spells out Disney Channel. It doesn't. Don't bother trying to piece it together in your head.
I took a second, I was like, wait a second, huh? I'm pretty sure it could be an anagram of something, but I don't think it's that.
Now, I think my earliest memory of playing Kingdom Hearts was actually around Thunder Boy's place, and it was just this, going around the beach and, like, collecting stuff and whatnot. Then I think I borrowed his copy of the game, and again, the rest is history. I developed an addiction similar to Sonic, similar to Steven Universe. It will never leave me. It is a kind of cancer that doesn't kill you.
I think I originally played these games as rentals from, you know, like a video and game rental store. So I played some of KH1 and then I played some of KH2 without completing this game or Chain of Memories. I never played any Chain of Memories before I played 2. And I don't think I had completed this game yet, so I probably spoiled myself on a lot of things by doing that.
Oh, Spar.
That was also 18 years ago, something like that, so it's not like I really remember exactly what happened.
Okay, Destiny Island is an anagram for It's Disneyland. Thank you, Disney Fandom Wiki.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense. I thought it was something like that.
See, I made the joke, but there was something in the back of my head that was like, you should be saying the correct thing here, and this isn't it. Anywho, we got like little training battles against the FF characters here, and you may not know this if you never played the original, but the music in this game is remixed, as are the graphics, but the graphics they kind of had to, well, they had to kind of make the entire game from scratch because they lost the original code.
I still call bullshit on that, because if they had remade the entire thing from scratch, I think they would have fixed a lot of problems that this game has. Especially with the way some attacks work and camera control and things like that. But maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part rather than, you know, what developers can actually do.
It's not exactly cynicism. Who knows? I'm not privy to game development, I just sit here talking over other people's games and whatnot, but yeah, it's a good idea to face these guys now, because you can get some nice EXP in early on.
Tidus, which is who we're heading towards right now, actually has the best way of farming XP on Destiny Islands if you desire to do so. A lot of people go for Waka because you can knock the Blitzball back at him, but Tidus will actually give you 2 tech points if you parry his attacks.
Nice.
And he has a bit more HP, so the fight will last longer as well. So if you want to grind a lot of XP, Tidus is actually the way to go.
Tie him up with the rope you got, it was sitting right near him, and just whack away. Tech point after tech point.
Tough part is that Tidus is actually kind of tough to fight. His patterns are very strange. He'll just randomly go through your parries like that. You know, sometimes he just kind of kicks your ass.
Right, you know, he is a protagonist. Wacker is, I guess he's a deuteragonist, sort of. Although that might be Yuna.
Selphie was just kind of a side character in 8, as far as I know.
Yeah. I remember she likes trains, I think? I might be thinking of another character.
That sounds correct. I don't know where that comes from, because I've never seen really anything of FF8, so I'll have to take your word on that.
Here's a quiz for you guys. Take a guess which side of the franchise I'm more familiar with. Is it Disney or is it Final Fantasy?
Probably Disney for you. And for me, it's kind of like, I kind of know both. A little bit.
My credentials for Final Fantasy are I've played and beaten Final Fantasy Crisis Core. That was basically one of my first games when I got my PSP, which is essentially a Square Enix machine. Love that game. I've played like an hour or so of 10, and that's about it really. They're kind of all on Switch now, so I really should be getting around to playing them, but there's so much more, you know, new stuff coming out, and new stuff is automatically better than old stuff.
Well, you might alienate people with that line, but
I'm joking.
As far as Final Fantasies that I've completed 12 and Crisis Core as well. And I guess 14 if you want to count that, even though it's an MMO. And that's it.
You can't beat MMOs, they're supposed to be never-ending.
Well, I mean, they do eventually end, and there is a certain point that the story gets up to and then stops, so...
Don't tell me you're giving up already.
Oh, Riku, with your ways of blocking and your donkey kicking to counter and whatnot.
He can be really annoying because, like, halfway through the fight, his pattern changes. Usually it takes 4 hits to knock him over. Later on in the fight, he'll just start falling over, like, randomly, and then obviously do the counter after that. So he can just kind of catch you by surprise.
Be honest, how many times did you lose the first time you played the game?
A lot. I've lost the race a few times, too.
Oh, same. The race is actually fairly easy to lose. You have to be really on the ball for that.
It depends on which way you go. If you take the standard path around, like the beach, it's pretty easy to do. A lot of people, like me, when I originally played, will try to climb up the tower because there's a zip line, and you're like, oh, that'll be way faster. But the zip line mechanics are so weird that you end up falling off.
Yeah, I've never really gotten it to successfully work, but whatever, we'll get to that when we get to that. So now it is time to go to bed, I guess. And just so you guys know, it's called the Destiny Islands for a reason. This is not where they live. They live on, like, Next Game Island, just off the coast.
Could be.
They should be looking at it right now, judging by its position in Cage, too, actually. Because you could see the front of this, you know, play island from where we see them in 2. But it's not there because it wasn't thought of, and so they didn't make it.
What would you do there?
Visit the Disney store, maybe pick up a Donald plush, beat it up for tech points.
I would picture Riku actually going to the Pokemon store.
Yeah, I guess so. What type of gym leader do you reckon Riku would be if he was one?
I mean, Dark is the obvious answer, but also, like, fighting, I guess, would be a good one. Or Steel. I think Steel works quite well, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So, we could have just as easily ended up somewhere else, right?
You gotta be real careful when you sail out to sea on a raft. It doesn't have a motor. It is entirely down to your own locomotion.
Just
they were
sitting
planning
here
to have a
listening
sale at least. That's what we got the cloth
It's
for.
the same old stuff.
Which means they would have been, stuck
So
with the
let's go.
wind. I don't know if they brought an ore or anything like that. But also their food was like
Thanks to
2
you.
fish, 3 mushrooms, and some
If you
water,
hadn't come
and a
here,
coconut egg. That was
I
going to
probably
last them a
would've
day
never
at
thought of any
most.
of this.
They're children. They don't have any sense of the
Party
scope
thanks.
of things at this point in time.
You're welcome.
Do you ever get the feeling that Kairi doesn't exactly like Riku all that much?
Sora,
She's a bit not as friendly, I guess is a
you
nice way
wanted
to put
one,
it,
didn't you?
as she is with Sora. That's
I'll
that's
pay for
true.
it. If two people share
I never
one,
understood
their
the
destinies
people that
become
tried to
intertwined.
argue,
They'll remain a part of each
shipping
other's lives.
for Kingdom Hearts
What?
about who Kairi should end up with. It was
Come
pretty
on, I know
obviously
you wanna
Sora
try it.
throughout the whole series.
Yeah, and besides, Riku's engaged to King Mickey, so...
I feel like Riku always had a thing with like Namine a little bit, especially how they interacted in his story in Chain of Memories. They seem to have something going on there.
There's a connection there. I wouldn't exactly call it romantic, but there is definitely something there.
There's not a lot of romantic in this series at all, Tom, let's be honest.
There's some there, but you have to dig for it. Ah, yes, it is him, Donald Duck. Who else but Donald Duck? And fun fact, Donald was originally going to be the protag for Kingdom Hearts. Then they went to Mickey Mouse, and then they finally settled on an OC.
Yeah, I think Square wanted it to be Donald, right? Or did Disney want it to be Donald and Square didn't agree? I can't remember.
One or the other. One or the other.
Someone wanted Donald and the other didn't agree, and so they went to Mickey and they were like, hey, maybe we should just make an original character.
Yeah, I think it was best that they went with Sora, honestly, because just like narratively speaking, there's only so much you can do with established characters, but if you have an OC, you can experiment with them.
These are established characters, but they still go through their own character arcs, which is really cool. Which obviously we'll get to in this game and such.
Like, for example, in Kingdom Hearts 1, Donald never heals me, and come Kingdom Hearts 3, he occasionally heals me. So, progress.
In Kingdom Hearts 3, you don't need to heal because everything already heals you. One thing I love about Kingdom Hearts 1, in any version, really, is the sort of childlike innocence and humor that the game has.
Yeah.
More so than any other game in the series, I think this game is hilarious. 3 has a few moments, and 2 has a few moments, but this one really has the comedy in it.
I think 3 has the best cutscene direction in the series, but if we're discussing, like, tone and charm, 1 is probably going to stand the test of time as the best one.
I think charm is a really great way to describe this game. I think I've described this game on Twitter as the perfect combination of charm and jank to make just a wonderful experience, and I still think that holds up.
Oh no, she's here. Big head mode mini. Why is it so big? I don't know. Also, is this like one of the only areas of the game that you don't get to play in KH1?
Yeah, they have Disney Castle on the gummy menu later on, but you can never go to it. I'm not even sure if you can hack the game to select it or not.
Hey Sora, have you heard about the legendary power of the Paopu fruit? They say if you share it with
I
someone
like
really
that
careful,
Selfie talking about all of this romantic stuff while Tidus is in the background. I always had the headcanon that as far as these characters in Kingdom Hearts go, these two characters would be together.
try it
I mean, it
sometime.
makes sense. Who else is there on the island? Waka? No, Waka is doomed to be alone. At least until Lulu comes along.
I was going to say, it's got to be Lulu, right? I don't know much about 10, but I know about Lulu.
You know, the secret place at the base of that.
Maybe there's Albed in there, yeah? We could do some... You know what? I'm going to stop right there.
That's probably for the best.
Yes. Let's just say Waka also goes through an arc of his own in FF10, and it was for the best. It was for the best. This was hard as fuck to navigate on my old CRTV.
It's so dark in the original game, right? I think my original recording of this game, which is on my YouTube channel, which I recorded with a Dazzle, that's how long ago it was, the tunnel is so dark it's just a black screen with Sora on it. You can't see a damn thing.
If you remember the original playthrough, I had to put so many filters on that to get it to look at least a little bit presentable.
Yeah, the brightness in the original game just really didn't hold up to trying to record anything. A lot of that had to do with the technology that was available for us as well.
Yeah, because don't forget, we did that playthrough around or pre-2008, so... God, I have to do counting now. About 14 years ago?
Who's there?
I've come to see the door to this world.
Billy Zane.
I'm Hollywood's Billy Zane, here for one night only.
Well, what are you
What do you think about Billy Zane versus Richard Epcar?
Richard Epcar came into the role, he did his best, and I think he's made it his own, but Billy Zane just adds to the charm of this game, because he has such like a suave menace to him.
He hams it up a little bit at the end too, which is
Where
great.
did you come from?
Personally, I feel like Richard Epcar does a better job now as Ansem than Billy Zane would do, presumably, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
Or at least as he does in this game. But man, when Richard Epcar took over, I guess in KH2 for some of the flashbacks, and in Rechain of Memories, he was trying so hard to emulate Billy Zane rather than doing his own thing, that it really just sounds stilted and terrible.
A little bit rough, yeah.
It doesn't help that Rechain of Memories also has one of the final performances of Wayne Allwine, the voice of Mickey, so the voicing in that game is just kind of sad all around when you think about it like that.
Yeah, shame. You know, I forget when it was, but there was a version, it may have even been the original US release of Final Mix, that had Rechain of Memories as a bonus thing, but we never got it in the UK. It was released in PAL, but only in Germany, if I recall correctly.
That's so strange. Yeah, Rechain of Memories came with Final Mix in Japan. Obviously, we never got Final Mix at all over here in the West. Rechain of Memories was released as a separate disc, though, at least for us, so I was able to play it way back on the PS2, and you guys were not.
I think the first time I played it was emulating it.
Yes, I believe, was that for the original KH-a-thon?
It may have been, yeah.
That was so long ago. I think before I was actually a member of this group, I think I remember offering to record Rechain of Memories for you guys because you didn't have access to it. And you turned me down because you didn't know me that well.
Well, things have changed. One could say I know you too well now.
I think my title on the HFC TV tropes, which is still a thing, is the Ascended Regular or something like that, because I really started out as just a guy that was watching the videos and hanging out in the stream chat, and eventually, well, here I am.
Help, he's trying to usurp me. Get help!
If anyone's gonna usurp you, it's gonna be Flame.
Oh god, yeah. I'm surprised he hasn't launched an attack already.
So remember what I said about the zipline earlier? Yeah, we're gonna take it.
Oh, Spar, you maverick. Yeah, look at him go!
So the reason why the zipline doesn't work is that if you hold up on the control stick, you instantly try to flip over it like it's a ledge.
Oh.
So you have to let the control stick go.
Right. God, look at this path you're taking here.
Oh yeah, this is like path that I got from Mistmaster 1 that I mentioned earlier. We're about to see some really freaky shit here in a second though. Watch his leg.
Whoa!
I take that path specifically for that reason, to show off that his leg really doesn't like that geometry.
Hell, whatever, it's just a name. You big old cook.
I think that's one of the only times in the series that they have the proper, like, fully modeled face mesh for a character during a text-only cutscene.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they just have default face.
Default face was a term I think I came up with. Someone else may have used like a different terminology to mean the same thing, but default face specifically means when a character is not animating during a cutscene and they're just basically blank faced and just like going ba 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 ba. It's especially prevalent in Pokemon games.
It's actually really bad in 2 as well. There's a lot more of it, I think, than there is in this game.
It's worse in 2 because a lot of the time there's no music to score the scene, so it comes off as extremely desolate and awkward.
And then there's the times where they point out the fact that there should be other NPCs around, but there's not. It's just empty corridors and everything.
The action, the people. I can see a mushroom from here. You forgot one.
2 is very strange in terms of its cutscene direction and story. It stands up almost entirely on its gameplay, I would have to argue.
Yeah, let's go, RNG.
These ones here, I think, are the best place to find the coconuts. You can get them from basically any tree like that around the island. Obviously, you want the green ones. The brown ones are not ripe, I guess, is the reason you don't want them.
They're taking water with them, which is cool. They're taking coconuts with them, which have, like, water or milk in them. I forget exactly what it is. But how are they planning to open the coconuts, per se?
I think when they're like that, they're soft enough to, like, open normally. Maybe they bring some tools with them, I don't know. Sora just putting these fish in his pockets.
Yes. There's an aquarium inside those, well, actually, he's not wearing, like, shorts. He's wearing a onesie with a little overcoat.
And honestly, what an iconic design. It's something that's really persisted throughout all the series, to the point that this is the way Sora was presented when he was added to Smash.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, you know, his design bears the vestige of Mickey Mouse with the red and the big shoes and whatnot.
If you look at Sora's jacket, the black part of his jacket, it crosses to almost form an X. And I think we all know what an X on someone's clothing means in this series.
Ah, the recusant sigil. Let's just throw in all these terms that may or may not be true.
I don't think that was planned, of course, like it wasn't obviously this long in advance, but it is neat for me to look at things like this and go, hey, that kind of looks like a thing. Maybe they did that on purpose when they obviously didn't.
Well, Waka's got 2 X's on him. Jesus. They really want him for Organization 13. His racism against the Albert will be Sora's undoing.
I mean, they're actually probably going to get close to beating me in this fight here.
Jesus. One of my favourite edits for this scene is when Sora's attacking these guys, it just cuts to one of the Mortal Kombat, like, fatality screens.
Oh. I was thinking it was going to cut to, like, one of his ultimate attacks in the later series.
Oh, it's not a fatality, it's one of the X-ray scenes. There we go. Reference successfully saved. So yeah, this is tricky, but you'll earn some nice EXP if you get it right.
I think you get 5 EXP total for beating all of them, which is the same amount you get for beating Riku, which is probably easier.
Mm-hmm. You ready?
As she runs away. Now that Tidus is down, the fight's a lot easier to handle, though.
Oh yeah, he's like a variable that you really have to pay attention to.
Tidus is really aggressive. Waka's like throwing the blitz balls from far away, and Selphie can come in from long range because she's using like a jump rope or something. So like all 3 of them are really dangerous in their own ways.
Did she use a whip in FF8? Is that what that's a reference to?
I think so, or maybe nunchucks, something like that.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know much about 8, so I can't say for sure.
Ah, drinking water. Good stuff.
I took such a weird path to do all of this, because I had to circle back around to the other side. But, you know, it works.
Yeah, Spar was complaining to me about his gameplay being inefficient before we started this. I'm like, mate, as long as you don't, like, die over and over and leave those takes in, I doubt anyone's gonna care.
I had to redo all of this stuff on Destiny Islands a few times and do like different takes because I would either lose to Riku or lose to the 3-way fight back there. So this is actually a few takes cobbled together into one.
And that's fine, mate. That's called being efficient right there.
You know, Riku has changed. What do you mean?
Iconic shot.
Well,
It's iconic to me for a different reason, because when I originally played Final Mix, I did it on emulator,
let's take the
and
rest
any
of
time the skyline with the sun appears on screen, the emulator would lag terribly. I don't know what it was about that part of the skybox, but the emulator sure didn't like it. So this entire cutscene runs at like 20% speed, and they sound drunk as hell.
Now I'm ready.
but now I'm ready no matter where I go or what. I don't know what being drunk is like. You're just gonna have to take my word for it.
Right?
I mean, that's a pretty good impression of what it would have been like, yeah.
Sora, don't ever change.
And he never did. The end.
I just can't
I mean, he changed clothes, but only through magic.
If that magic hadn't come along, would he have ever changed out of that onesie? Perish the thought.
It looked small on him in KH2. Imagine what it would look like in 3.
God, I don't want to. We didn't have the wherewithal to voice this scene. Mostly because, you know what, that's a bit unfair. They probably wanted it to pop during the final scene.
Yeah, they wanted Mickey's voice to really have that impact. Although having it here, I think, would have been nice too. I think the thing that sticks out to me is Mickey writes in the same way he speaks. Very casually, I guess is a good way to put it. Like play in or find in, things like that. And he writes the same way, which is really not normal even if someone does speak that way. Which makes me think maybe the letter had some voice to it through magic or something like that. Or maybe I'm just making shit up.
Maybe you are, Spar.
We'll just have to trust the king.
Gorge, I sure hope he's alright.
So we got the classic voice actors back for the Disney crew here. We have Bill Farmer as Goofy. I think that's Tony Anselmo as Donald, and then we have the wife of Wayne Allwine. Oh god, her name's escaping me. Do you have it down, Spar?
Is it...
Russie Taylor, there we go.
Yeah, I had no idea who it was. No, that one I did not write down.
She's sadly no longer with us, same with Wayne. And I believe that's Tress McNeil as Daisy.
Alright, and who's Jiminy here?
I have
If you
no
have that.
fucking idea.
I could type that in real quick.
Thank you very much. I think he's also passed away. I mean, I'm not saying it's like a Kingdom Hearts curse or anything, but Jesus.
No, Google, I did not mean Jimin voice. What does that even mean?
What?
It doesn't recognize Jiminy as a word.
Your world disappeared.
Now, they mentioned that Jiminy's world has disappeared here. We won't get to see the proper version of it, ever. Because the only time we see, I guess we'll just say, is Practice Paradise, is in Kingdom Hearts 3D, Dream Drop Distance, and that's a sleeping version of the world. It's not the actual one.
On where we're from, huh? We gotta protect the world border.
This might have been Phil Snyder, because he had a few different voices during the 2000s. Or maybe Eddie Carroll? Eddie Carroll voiced from 73 to 2010, so that's probably who it was for this.
There you go.
Phil Snyder from 2010 to 2014, and Joe Achman from 2014 until the current day. He's still going.
There you go, the current voice of Jiminy. Oh boy, Chip and Dale, they are in vogue right now. Have you seen that trailer for the new show?
I think I remember like seeing, screenshots of it, but I never sat down and watched it. I wasn't that interested in the reaction to it. Basically said, yeah, I don't care.
Well, there's one bit where it's like, I forget whether it was Chip or Dale, I don't really care. One of them is basically like, oh, I got the CGI makeover. And the other dude's like, huh. Basically, derisive reaction. But he's also CGI, they just painted over it in 2D.
Yeah, that's the thing about a lot of 2D, is it's still computer generated. It's just not an obvious 3D model.
It sticks in my craw, that's all I have to say about that.
That scene where Donald winks down at Daisy like that always kind of made me think of like a Star Wars kind of thing with Anakin and Padme, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And then they follow it up with this slapstick comedy kind of thing of them falling through the tunnel, and it's great.
Oh, that's just classic Disney tone for you. So they're off to search for the key. Where will it be? Will it be with Sora? Who knows? I know.
I think we all know if you're watching this probably, but that's not what we're here for.
The iconic Sora bedroom.
I just can't wait. Once we set sail, it'll
So
be
he
great.
has all of these clothes strewn about, so like Sora wears other things that aren't this onesie.
Oh no!
We see him wearing different clothes in Birth by Sleep.
This is true, yeah, but like that's when he's younger. He's not got his iconic look yet, I guess.
You're not playing with your star robot again, are you?
Those robot kind of things up there in the corner are very strange, but not as strange as the harpoons that he's keeping in his bedroom.
And the trident, although, you know, they're a fishing village, so it kind of makes sense. Also, Sora's mom will never be heard of again, ever.
And Kyrie's.
Not even mentioned once whenever they return to Destiny Islands later on.
You know, he didn't really have much chance to rest, considering Mickey sent him, you know, a letter in a bottle, like, right away.
I think they at least got a few weeks to chill out between the end of 2 and, like, the start of 3D.
Yeah, it's important to realize that Kingdom Hearts does not flow in real time, with real life time. So when people complain about, you know, Kyrie not getting to fight properly and whatnot, or, you know, jobbing, for lack of a better term, she's had maybe a month tops of training, and that was with another rookie Keyblade wielder. She's not going to become a master in that amount of time.
Even if they had like a time dilation thing, which I think was mentioned in 3, when you're just training, it's not going to be like fighting against someone that is out to kill you. It's not going to be the same whatsoever, speaking as if I have experience in such a thing.
I'm sure to win because my heart is stronger.
Riku.
I mean, that is kind of a thing in this series. You joke, but,
Step into the stinkiness, Sora. Once we're out there, we'll never have to bathe again.
So you're not going to bring back Oni Play stuff, but you'll bring back your own jokes?
They're my jokes! Oh, the light of bright.
I noticed when I was rewatching this earlier today, the I guess pattern that's on the screen as the Keyblade is appearing is very, very similar to what the explosion looks like when Ansem dies at the end of the game. It kind of has a swirl pattern that is very similar to how that explosion appears.
Interesting.
And I don't know if they like did that on purpose or anything. Anything could be on purpose in this series, let's be honest.
Those palm trees being there, probably a reference to the fact that palm trees are present.
So you could spend a lot of time fighting, like, all the shadows and everything. I just fought a couple of them to get that level up, and then I moved on.
There's people who've got up to level 99 here, and I'm sure as shit not sitting around for Spar to do that, thank you.
I would go level 10 at the absolute maximum.
Oh yeah.
If I were going to grind on Destiny Islands, and even that takes forever.
Kyrie.
You good?
Sora.
No, not at all.
Oh, it's a room full of farts. Kyrie, I'll catch you! What? Well, okay, I guess Kyrie's inside me now.
It's a shame that this game came out so long ago that I don't remember my original reactions to any of this, because I have to imagine that I was completely baffled about everything that's happening right here.
Well, it's creating its own mythos as it goes. It's an entirely original series, so it would be like the first time you played Final Fantasy, or, you know, Legend of Dragoon, or something like that.
Well, when I first played this, I kind of didn't really know anything about Final Fantasy. Like, even, like, I kind of knew Cloud and Sephiroth were characters that existed, and that was about it. I knew more about Disney, so I thought most of this stuff was, like, stuff that Disney had already done. Like, End of the World? When I first played this game, I thought End of the World was from a Disney movie, and I couldn't figure out which one it was from.
That's where they banish all the people who criticize their, You know, I'm going to stop there as well. We should not be making these things political. This is where people come to have fun and just enjoy two twerps talking over a video game. So that's it for the first part of our Final Mix playthrough, y'all. Coming up, well, more, I guess. We're not just going to finish here. And we're going to put up about 2 to 3 parts a week. And don't worry, we will be covering the secret bosses and all that good stuff. So thank you, Spar, for recording this. And we'll see you next time when the Kingdom Hearts Final Mix playthrough continues. Bye for now.